trying to answer. But I got a little excited that this came up. So yes, I'm very much for it. The old system has kept two parties in power for way too long. It hasn't allowed new parties to break through, like myself. The Greens have finally been able to break through, so congratulations to you. But it's time for a change. It's time to resolve the entire system.
So I will be the lone voice in the wilderness on this, and I'm okay with that. Here's my problem. When you look at systems like proportional representation, I see two problems. Number one, how do you define what the riding boundaries are? So how do you have that connection with your constituents? Number two, in most proportional representation systems, the party has a list of people that they are going to put forward depending on what their percentage is. So they put together a list of 338 for Canada, and if they get 10 votes, they take 10 people off that list. Who do they represent? Do they represent you? I don't think so. I think you are then so beholden to the leader of your party because they moved you up that list that you will never represent your constituents. I am so passionate about changing our democracy so that your local representative is your local representative and that person votes the way you want them to vote. Not on every issue, budgets, and core policies for a party. I think you have to toe the party line unless they're terrible for your area, then you stand up. But when you get into this system where leaders are picking who gets to be the member of parliament, I think all you're doing is asking for trouble with not having a representative actually for you in Ottawa. So I'm not, unfortunately, in favor of that.
Good. Neither am I. However, you described a system which is indeed not desirable at all. In many countries of the world, there are blended systems where you still have your local representative directly elected. That person, you look in their eyes. That is the case. Plus, you have additional representatives, which are, let's say, on provincial level, making the proper balance of what the proportional vote is. So you have the best of both worlds. These systems exist, and the Green Party will strongly stand behind such a system. Michelle, I'm not so sure. You're defending Mr. Trudeau, and that's your job. However, I have friends in the Liberal Party. Laugh, laugh, laugh. No, I'm not trying to belittle it. The Liberal Party Congress, prior to the last election, the Party Congress, the National Congress, with a vast majority, passed a resolution to change our electoral system. That was not Trudeau's idea. He said it, just on the campaign trail, as, oh, this might be a great idea, we get some votes. No, actually the Liberal Party, I give them kudos, was standing behind changing the system. But then, elected majority, that idea fell off the table.
The NDP stance is that we would change to a proportional representation system. And if you have to remember that we are in a democracy, so I would like us to, we would have a referendum, democracy for the people. So it should be a decision in terms of changing our electoral system. The responsibility and the accountability should go back to you guys. And then our party will further decide. But I think we need to give other people's voices a chance. And so we would wholeheartedly move to proportional representation.
How responsive would you be to your constituents, if you were elected, someone who's having a lot of trouble getting responses from politicians generally, and they want to know your commitment to be responsive to constituents here in Dufferin County.
To everybody?
Yeah, yeah.
So we're going to just reframe the question again, just because people didn't hear?
Yeah.
And we'll come back to it.
The question is, how responsive would you be to your constituents here on the ground? Would they have to chase you down repeatedly to get responses if you were elected as a representative?
So,
We still didn't hear, ma'am. Can't hear a word of the question, Chad.
You know,
yeah, what she's asking is,
We don't hear her.
what she's asking is, how responsive will we be to the voters, right? How quick will we respond to their questions, and what are we going to do to communicate with you guys? I don't know if you guys have noticed, you probably see my signs out and about. That's me and 3 guys. If you see all the posts that are on Facebook right now, that's me personally. I do not have a team. I've been able to get my name out there. I've been able to get to these debates, and I've had the majority of you guys come up and at least knew who I was. I did that on my own with 2 guys behind me. I do not have a team. I'm out there in the community. I've been responsive. If you take a look at my response times on social media, no more than 3 to 4 minutes. If you guys phone me, boom, I'm picking up the phone and I'm phoning back. Emails. It's what I do. It's part of my business. I'm a salesman. If I don't have a quick response time, if I don't have a quick response time, I'm not going to answer the questions that I have, that you guys have properly, and I'm going to lose you. And I'm going to lose you as a voter. And that's how I look at it. Every single person in this room is a voter. And if I don't get back to you in a timely fashion, I'm going to lose you as a voter. And that's a shame, and it shouldn't be done.
being your voice is kind of the whole reason why I'm running. And to be the voice, you have to be accessible, and you can do that on a whole bunch of ways. One of the things I talked about in my opening is having town halls every 3 months, where everyone is invited. And what you can do as a member of parliament is send out mailings, do voice drops, social media, let everyone know you're going to be there. And when I held town halls, I only had one rule, and that is that we, talk to each other respectfully. And I always say, I want to hear the good, the bad, and the ugly, because you got to hear it all. You've also got to be available in your office. You have to have office hours. It's a little more challenging when you're traveling to Ottawa for 3 weeks, but there's phone calls, there's emails, there's all those kinds of things. I had one rule when I was a member of parliament, that was every single email, every single letter, and every single phone call was returned, and that is my absolute pledge if I'm elected with the great privilege of representing Dufferin County.
If you made the former mayor of New York, Michael Bloomberg, years ago I heard he had his telephone number in the telephone book. Although only very few in the room are as old as I am and don't remember what a telephone book is, I will put my personal cell phone number everywhere. On the website, on my business card, on my pamphlet. It's my cell phone number. Call me if you have a problem.
I consider myself an MP in training at this point, but if I'm so lucky to have you vote for me, when you vote for me, accessibility and accountability are two of the main attributes that I would convey and get back to you. It's customer service at the highest level. And to have the privilege to represent you in Ottawa would account for me to make sure I get back to you in the right time.
I want to be in touch with each one of you. And I think as MP too, you have a constituency office, you have staff. I firmly believe that every letter, every email needs to be answered. If some people have been trying to get in touch with their local politicians and haven't heard back. It could be that the politician is just under an avalanche of emails and social media posts and phone calls, etc. But I firmly believe, and I'm committed to, getting back to every person who contacts me.
Okay, you're up.
Oh. Well, I'm honored to be the first question from the floor. One of the reasons of this meeting this evening is to hear and debate party policies. Another reason is to meet, talk to, socialize with, and find out how you feel personally about some of the more pressing social issues of our time. One of these social issues was brought to light quite innocently by the actual leader of the Green Party, Elizabeth May. Private members' bills have been alluded to this evening. Social issues have been alluded to this evening. Reference private members' bill, my question is about abortions. Because there are still residents who actually vote for the candidate rather than the party, having said that, my question would be to each of you, forgetting party politics, how do you personally feel about this issue? Are you pro-choice or pro-life?
Here we go.
I might need more than a minute, but, so I'm going to ask for a little extra. I am personally pro-life. That's clear if anyone who's taken the time to look at any of my speeches or how I've talked on it. That being said, that's my personal point of view. I believe that it's not my place to, I've made it very clear, I'm not going to introduce any legislation on abortion when I'm a member of Parliament. It's not something I want to introduce, not something I want to legislate on. I don't think we can, put people in baskets of pro-choice and pro-life. How would you vote on a piece of legislation that has to deal with abortion? I don't know, I'd have to see it, but I'd also want to consult with my constituents. But I will tell you this very clearly. I would not vote for a piece of legislation on abortion that violates the Charter. And the Charter and the Supreme Court set out the Charter right to abortion very clearly. And I would never, ever vote for anything that violated the Supreme Court decision on the Charter with respect to abortion.
I believe that only a woman can answer that question.
Thank you.
Well, I am a registered nurse, and I've taken care of women who've had abortions or not have had abortions. I don't know. I wouldn't know. That's a very personal issue for a woman, and women have free choice. We all have free will.
Currently.
Who's going to change it?
Pardon me?
I said currently. The question is, are you pro or against? Pro-life, pro-choice. That's the question.
So you want to know what I think personally?
Yes.
Pro-life,
I
pro-choice.
believe that in the end, it's going to be a woman and her God that will figure it out.
Hear her.
Also, in the physical sense, there are medical reasons why a woman has to have an abortion or not. There are women's bodies who naturally abort babies. What do you say about that?
Thanks.
I can keep this short. I am pro-family and I'm pro-choice. I believe it's a woman's right to choose, and I never, ever want us to go back to the days when desperate women took desperate measures to end their pregnancy.
This has been an issue that I've battled with for a long time. I think I'm like many Canadians. Sometimes I'm pro-life and sometimes I'm pro-choice. With being the father of a special needs child, there are some people who decide to abort just because their kid is special needs, which I don't think is right. I don't agree with late-term abortions. If somebody's been pregnant and it's been 6 or 7 months, the choice I do feel should have been made. On the party aspect, it's a social issue that we're not looking to touch. We agree with everything that's in there right now, but I promised myself that I'd be honest with you guys, and I've been battling with this back and forth for a very long time, and I do feel that you can't, just like Mr. Seebeck said, you can't put it one in one basket and one in another basket. It's too complicated of an issue to say it's black or white for me.
Okay, so what is your party's position on nuclear energy?